Welcome back to day number 2 of Pro Tour, The Lord of the Rings. From Barcelona, Spain, that beautiful beach. I'll be going there at some point during my stay.
Will you?
Oh, yeah.
You're going to be here for a while.
I know. I know that feels like a stock video or photo, but I'm going to be in one of those one day. Cedric Phillips, Paul Cheon, getting ready to bring you round number 1 of day number 2 of competition. We watched Kai draft his black-green deck. I think if we were to talk to him right now, he's probably pretty disappointed. Not with his career accomplishments. Those I'd be always very happy with. But this is not the best deck we've ever seen him draft.
No, this is one of those I hope I 2-1 draft decks, I feel. And I think if you asked him, he would probably respond in similar fashion.
You see this black-green deck here. You'll notice if you take a look at this graphic, a real lack of removal, folks. There are some powerful rares hanging out here in Orcish Bowmasters, in Sauron the Necromancer, and in Schmeagol Helpful Guide. But again, Paul, removal in Limited is more or less the name of the game, and you won't find any.
Yeah, this deck is a little bit on the clunkier side, and also just not a ton of ways, no removal, and not a lot of tricks either, right? It's just all creatures. But, I mean, again, if Kai can get to the late game, if the other decks are also kind of stumbling, I mean, he can certainly overpower his opponents in the late game.
Kai's opponent is 7-1 in this tournament, and it is Zachary Kiihne, who we watched close out day number 1 of competition yesterday against his teammate Simon Nielsen. We'll take a look at Zachary's deck now. You're going to see 3 colors, 2 of them not included in black and green. So we were kind of wondering what was going on at this draft table, and we're starting to get some answers here. Kiihne in white, blue, and red. The late Shadowfax perhaps showed up for Zachary. You do see a foray of orcs, as far as a powerful card is concerned. Paul, what's kind of your grade on this deck as you look at it at a glance?
I feel like Zach kind of had to figure out a way to piece this deck together. Typically, when you are red-white, you want to be centering your deck around kind of a human's aggressive strategy, but you see 3 copies of East Farthing Farmer, which is typically not something that you want to play in your red-white decks, as it's not a human, but it does synergize with the Rosy Cotton as it puts a token onto the battlefield. But I mean, and then also Zach looks like he's also choosing to splash, which typically in your red-white aggressive strategy you don't want to do. Splashing for some legends, there's some upside there, but I mean, I see the Fear Fire foes, but I think Zach also doesn't exactly have the ideal aggressive deck that you want kind of coming into this.
I will say this, when it is Pro Tour level competition, one thing that does happen in the drafts is, you have an ideal of what you would like your decks to look like, but more often than not, it does not go according to plan. We don't see a lot of, oh my gosh, look how good this deck is. It is, boy, I got to grind out some victories here.
Right.
Especially on day number 2 in the drafts, where everybody's got a pretty strong idea of what they're doing. So I wouldn't be surprised to see some weak decks in general in this draft pot.
Yeah, absolutely. Most draft decks that you're going to see at the Pro Tour are going to be significantly weaker than anything that you're going to be seeing on Twitter or anything like that, right?
Yeah,
it's just,
those screenshots we see on Twitter, you're not going to see those here.
Absolutely
I'll say this, you shouldn't.
It's just check out this 3-0 that I really had to grind out because I was missing some pieces. Every deck's kind of feel like it's missing something.
Kai on 6, Kiihne on 7, as Kai is going to start things off with a swamp and cycle a generous Ent to get a forest. You mentioned, Paul, that Kai was able to skimp on lands a little bit with all these land cyclers, only playing 15 lands in his deck. And he's also playing a very good card that he opened in Pack 2.
One of the keys to victory?
Yes. It'll be an Orcish Bowmasters. That's going to come in.
All right. Wow, that's a good Magic card.
Could do a lot worse than that one.
Yep.
That's for sure. Kiihne will play a creature and a plains and simply pass the turn back up against this Bowmasters.
And Bowmasters is just by itself, of course, it's just a very, very strong Magic card. But in this format, many decks are drawing additional cards, especially with that temp mechanic. And it makes it extremely awkward when you get to the second ability. It's like all of a sudden, oh, can I choose to not draw a card here? Because I don't want this Bowmasters to trigger.
Well, you're going to get an attack here right now. Took Reaper, of course, was the creature that was played. Kai's just going to play a forest and pass the turn back.
Oh, and look at Kai's hand. Rise of the Witch King with the Generous Ent in the graveyard.
And this was the combo that you talked about could come to fruition here, and I think we're about to see that happen.
Oh, man. Next turn is going to be fantastic here for Kai.
This will be level 2 on the ring here for Kiihne after casting that Breaking of the Fellowship. Will attack, draw, and discard. Going to discard him out and simply pass the turn back. So Kai will untap and get ready to have what could be an explosive turn here on turn number 4.
Get you first. Gotta get the point in before you sacrifice
very
it.
important.
Yeah,
Yes.
there you go. And is it time?
Well,
He's like, yeah.
partner,
Look on his face.
Partner,
He's like,
there's no time like the present.
and Rise of the Witch King. Oh,
This will be a Hobbit Sting in response. That's very timely.
oh,
Yes,
wow.
So that is going to stop.
Wow.
That is going to stop
that is
the Rise of the Witch
savage.
King. Yes, very timely there for Kiihne.
Oh, man. I wonder how many instant speed ways Kiihne has to interact with that 1/1 because you have to sack a creature.
Now it's the stalwarts that have shown up here.
Yeah, and Zach is already on the 4th ability here. That was huge. Does Kai have something here? I mean, the Enraged Horn does a great job here of blocking and trading here.
Mm-hmm.
The sizing lines up nicely here.
This will be
And Kai's
a
gonna
draw and discard first. We'll
block.
discard an island.
It's a 5/4 we're looking at with the stalwarts.
Yeah, you got the counter there. Now Kai's going to try to block, and it's
Combat trick.
not going to go well.
All right.
Okay.
Next turn it's going to be a 6/5.
Yep. And now there's a follow-up here from Kiihne as well.
Yeah,
So
just the 3/3.
it looked like Zachary was in some real trouble this game, and that Hobbit Sting certainly turned things around.
So Kai can just start playing out large creatures, though, and just trade, right? So
Yep.
it's not the end of the world here. Kai can just go Quick Beam or just play a Troll here, 6/5. There you go.
Yep.
And Zach's probably going to continue just attacking and getting these large creatures out of Kai's hand, but Kai's got a ton of them in his deck.
Yeah, and that's one of the nice things about Kai's deck is that he does
What
have
did
a
you
ton
draw
of them.
here, Zach?
Well, Zach is very, very, very quickly playing his spell.
Okay, so it's turning this into a 7/6, and then it attacks as an 8/7.
Yeah, it's the East Farthing Farmer.
Ooh, and that gets out of reach here for the Troll, right?
Yep. You see Kiihne's going to attack and loot there, of course, with the ring.
7/6 now.
Oh, it's a 7/6, excuse me.
Okay.
So you can trade here.
Trigger. So 11 and then 8.
Yep. And Kai's going to take that damage and pass the turn back. So he'll fall down to 8, as noted.
Okay.
Kiihne with no cards in hand.
Big hit, yeah.
Here for Kai, Quick Beam, the Patrol, and Celeborn the Wise in hand.
So no shortage of large creatures again, but Kai kind of on the back foot here. Can't really attack.
No, attacking is not an option for Kai at this point. It's about stabilizing this game, which is just trying to build a battlefield that can go toe-to-toe with what Kiihne's got going on.
And next turn, it's going to attack as a 7/6 still. Wonder why you don't go for the block there,
That is a curious decision,
right?
there
If
from Kai.
it was indeed a 7/6.
See if Kai can figure out a way out of this situation, though, right now. Quick Beam might be the best play just because it's all of the mana. It looks like he's going to go a different direction. We'll go to the Patrol and simply pass the turn back. So we're going to head back over to Kiihne now. No cards in hand, but one coming. Very important draw step here for Zachary.
The farmer gave it +1/+Run, right? Just to make sure.
I believe so. I mean, I'll say this. If Kai didn't block, he certainly had a reason.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course. So now this is a 7/6 with the 3 counters, and it's a 4/3. So of course you can block.
And there's be a double block here. And trigger the ring. And now these creatures are going to bite the dust. So Kai has solved that problem, at least for right now. We'll see what Kiihne wants to do next. And it looks like it's just going to be some farming, make another food token, and pass the turn back. So nothing is being tempted by the ring right now here for Kiihne, as Kai will draw a card. Remember, Kai's deck is effectively without removal. Did pick up a copy of Haunt of the Dead Marshes, and we'll just play Quick Beam and pass the turn back. Kiihne with the draw step here. His Quick Beam, you'll see, is a 5/6. The rest of the text in this stage of the game does not matter. Kiihne did draw a pretty good one.
Ooh, Rosy Cotton. So that can put a +1/+1 counter on something, and getting extremely aggressive here. So Kai just wants to block the biggest creature in play here and would be taking 5 damage here. Rosy Cotton, not a human. So we'll be taking 5 and going down to 3. But he's close to stabilizing here.
Well, he's doing the good fight right now.
Yeah, he's fighting the good fight. He's got the biggest creature in play. Zach needs to find a way to push through the final few points of damage because I believe Kai does have another play here this turn.
Kai's got a couple of different cards in hand right
got
now.
the Haunt.
Yeah, I mean, so he's going to start there. This will be a Scry 1 upon entering the battlefield. That top card is going to become the bottom card now.
All right,
Celeborn the Wise. That'll be the follow-up. So
that's a 3/3. So, I mean, Zach, of course, does have a good amount of draws here. That would be nice. He has a Fear Fire Foe, which would be fantastic.
one could argue that's the best.
Whoa! This kills large creatures.
Yeah,
the Battle
by Water.
So that's going to kill the 2 giant creatures in play. It will kill the Erkenbrand.
It will.
Yeah, but you get only 2 food tokens, right?
Yeah.
These players communicating back and forth, make sure this battlefield is correct.
That is a lot of food, but remember, when the food tokens get generated, Rosy Cotton triggers. So now we are looking at a 4/5 and a 1/1 here. That was a huge card here from Kiihne.
Again, remember, Kai does have a lot of large creatures that can block and stabilize here. He needs to find one of them right now.
And how good is that sweeper, by the way, against Kai's deck?
It turns out to be quite good.
His deck is just all giant monsters.
Yeah. The Battle of Bywater is a card that Kai does not want to play against in future games of this matchup. Not one bit. Kai at 2, Kiihne at 18. No cards in hand for Zachary, 2 for Kai.
What is Kai working with here?
Going to give this one a long think. Is the Magic Hall of Famer. All right, Sam's Desperate Rescue. Makes sense why Kai was thinking quite a bit this turn. Going to go to level 2 on the ring. A lot of options of cards to bring back from the graveyard.
Yeah, now if you go with the Orcish Bowmasters, you can use it to kill Rosy Cotton, but of course, then you're still kind of in chump block mode. You will have a decent amount of blockers because you get the token, you have the Pathfinder in hand as well, or you can just go for the largest monster available. Now, it looks like that's an Enraged Horn. That will mean that will get in front of the farmer, right? And Kai would still take one damage from the Rosy Cotton and go down to 1 here. So Zach has lots of great draws.
Yep, Zach has lots of great draws, and if you're in Kai's spot right now, you need that draw step to probably be a land. So
just got a block
there's
there.
Your block.
Go to 1.
And Kiihne will just pass the turn back. So Enraged Warren is doing the ring bearing right now, and Woe's Pathfinder was the draw step. So Kai is going to start with the Pathfinder, the follow-up.
And Easterling Vanguard here as well. So couple of blockers, but I don't know if you're in position to attack just yet. Not even, no cards in hand to loot either, so.
Let's see if Kiihne's draw step was kind. You have to imagine the last one wasn't because he didn't play anything. Been in these spots before, Paul. This is a situation where if you're rooting for Kai, you're hoping Kiihne starts drawing lands. That's what you need to have happen, and you also don't really ever want Kiihne to be able to tempt that ring again.
Yeah, exactly. Pathfinder is nice in that it can get in front of the Rosy Cotton if Zach does find a tempt creature.
So now what will Kiihne do?
In the tank here.
Yep, just giving things a pretty long thought. Don't know if he feels as though this game is slipping away from him, if he needs to take a very large risk at this stage of things. We don't have a good feel for what the second card is in hand. You do see on our card reader there is a mountain in the grip.
But I don't think Zach's going to be thinking this long if he doesn't have anything else to do this turn. Because as it stands, with the mountain that we know about in Zach's hand, doesn't have an attack here.
So the question is, what is that other card? Because Kiihne does sit with 2. He's hid it from everybody. He's the only one that knows.
Watch, it's just like a Fear Fire Foe.
I promise it's not. Okay.
Okay, I'm going to just kill everything.
I promise it's not. Ooh.
Is it a combat trick?
We're going to turn at least one of these. Two of these creatures are going sideways.
All right.
All right.
So Kai's got to be thinking, okay, you're not just going to make this attack if you have nothing. So Kai is now going to have to try to figure out what Zach Kiihne has here.
Now, remember, we are working with an open deck list tournament, but Kai doesn't have access to the deck list right now. It's going to be Slip on the Ring.
Oh, okay. So Kai's like, I'm not going to lose my horn here. And that's good. That was a really good heads-up block, because imagine if Kai blocked the farmer, it would have killed the horn.
Yeah, so this ends up being a really, really nice block here from Kai. Rosie Cotton's going to come back onto the battlefield, will be the ring bearer. Another food gets made, which means a +1/+1 counter goes on to the farmer.
But Kai has multiple 1/1s to block the Rosie Cotton here.
So we're going to head back Kai's way. Lothlorien Lookout the draw.
Another one-powered creature to
Indeed.
block. But now we're looking at a 5/6 farmer, right? So Kai's going to probably have to go for a double block here.
We're looking at a 5/6 farmer, but also, and I think more importantly, Kiihne's going to get the opportunity to start doing some looting, right?
Yes, he would be trading a loot for the loss of the Rosie Cotton. I don't know how important it is to have that permanent in play in terms of just the token generation that Zach might have available to him.
Well, he's made a loud declaration. It's not that important. Just going to pass the turn back.
Yeah.
No attack this turn. Zach did draw a Plains for the last draw step. So we head back over to Kai now. Again, this is one of those situations that's difficult with Kai's deck, because in spots like this, in limited generally, Paul, you're hoping to draw something like a removal spell, which Kai doesn't really have access to. So we'll see an attack here.
All right, we are getting in.
This will be a draw and a discard.
The farmer can't block. It is tempted. Oh, and a Smeagol.
Smeagol Helpful Guide will come down post-combat.
Okay.
Kiihne will sacrifice a food token, going to go up to 20 when all is said and done.
Plenty of food to sacrifice here. Oh!
That's a good draw.
That's got to be enough, right?
Well, let's see. There's a land.
Yeah, Fear Fire Foe. Boom, kill everything. There's only going to be one blocker, attack with everything else, and that's it.
That is going to do it. Fear Fire Foes is going to win Zachary Kiihne game number 1 against the German Juggernaut. On to game 2 we do go in our first round of coverage here in day number 2 from Pro Tour The Lord of the Rings. Kai will start things off with a Swamp and a Haunt. Scry 1 here, that top card, well, it's going to become the bottom card as we head over to Kiihne.
Yeah, a little bit of a clunky hand here for Kai, right? 5-drop, 5-drop, 6-drop. Leaning heavily on the Scry, on the Haunt to try to find something to do.
Well, I think earlier on in our coverage of watching Kai draft, you described his deck as clunky, and I think that's a very inappropriate adjective for it.
Absolutely.
It just is a bunch of creatures.
That's what the deck does.
Of varying mana costs.
Right.
And most of them are expensive. Oliphant is going to be mountain cycled.
Well, this Hunt doing a good job of keeping this Took Reaper at bay. I wonder if Kiihne is just going to play another one and just attack. Nope.
I'm just going to play that one and pass the turn back. Kai will land cycle away the Generous End for now. So Forest will be coming to the grip here in just a moment. You see Kai's hand again. A lot of expensive creatures. Right. Now, these creatures are bigger than Took Reapers and going to be bigger than a lot of the white creatures that do exist in Kiihne's deck. But don't forget that Kiihne does have that copy of the Battle of Bywater that is very, very good in the matchup.
Yeah. It's one of those situations, even if Kai looks massively ahead, he's got to be mindful of that card and probably will try his best to close out the game as quickly as possible.
Kai now with 2 copies of Enraged Horn in hand, and we'll deploy that Celeborn the Wise. 4 mana 3/3 on this battlefield. Not a bad place to be.
Yeah. Generally, 4 mana 3/3 is not where you want to be, which is why this card hasn't been performing that well. But of course, Kai does have a few filler cards. But on offense, it's perfectly fine, right? It's a 4 mana 4/4 with that Scry ability. Ooh, and one of the better white uncommons in the set here, Rosie Cotton here.
Yeah, showed up in game 1, showing up here in game number 2.
Right.
Took Reaper going to turn into a 3/2 and come across into the red zone. Kai's going to fall down to 17.
I imagine Kai's going to just be looking to get in here, play one of his many 5-drops
his
in hand.
His deck is full of them. Now, again, this is a kind of an interesting situation on how aggressive does Kai want to be over the course of the next handful of turns. It kind of starts here, the terms of engagement.
Yeah.
And it'll be time to scry. That top card becomes the bottom one.
Yeah. Kiihne certainly not blocking the 4/4 here.
I'd be surprised if he did. So
Yeah.
4 damage will come across. Kiihne's going to fall down to 15. Kai with a follow-up of a 5th land. And which one of those 5 drops, my friend?
Warn?
Yeah, it'll be a horn.
So Zach does have a Breaking of the Fellowship, which would be a clean answer to the Celeborn.
Yeah, we may see that now, and we will. So there is Breaking of the Fellowship. And now, Zach has been tempted by the ring.
Yeah.
Took Reaper, that's a 3/2, is going to come across.
Is it on the first ability right now? I think that was the first
It is the first temptation.
Okay.
Both players sitting at level 1 with the ring. So Kai's going to take that damage. Will fall down to 14, and Kiihne will pass the turn back. Slip on the ring available here for Kiihne.
Yeah, a bit of a racing situation here. Kai, as the Reaper is currently tempted, I mean, that horn can't really be the creature on defense. And that's what's kind of also changed how combat works in this format. Oftentimes, you just can't lean on a big creature to prevent your opponents from attacking, right? And that's why cards like the Mirkwood Spider has also kind of gone up in value, because you need to have ways, especially in the late game, to have a way to block these creatures and deal with them when they do hit level 3, level 4.
Absolutely. Another horn is going to come on down. Level 2 on the ring now here for Kai. So the horn that is active is going to attack. A little draw and a little discard here for Kai from level 2 of the ring.
With a Trebuchet here.
And so Kiihne is going to fall down to 11. And the follow-up is the Spider passing the turn back. Patrol's last card hand here for Kai, as Kiihne will sacrifice the food and go up to 14.
Now Kiihne does have a foray of Orcs, which would be quite strong here. Can use it to kill the Spider and then continue attacking with the Took Reaper. But, I mean, Kai's attacking for 8 every single turn potentially with the double horn.
So this is going to enter.
And here is the foray of Orcs that you did mention. That's going to come on in, amass 2. Create that token, which will trigger Rosy Cotton.
Right, so you now get an extra counter here.
Indeed.
Where does Zach want to put it? Probably not on the Ring Bearer here, because that would allow Kai to block with the Enraged Horn.
And you see, there's going to be a little bit of a conversation here on exactly, can you put that counter from the amassing of the Orcs onto the Orc itself? That's Kai's question right now. So our table judge is going to provide some clarity for our players in the booth here.
So it goes on the stack after the spell? Yes. Okay, so.
And clarity is presented. So,
My guess is yes.
looks like the answer is yes. Now the amass is up to 3.
All right. I am no longer guessing.
I don't.
I will now say
I let the table judges take care of that. I'm not in the guessing game. Here comes that Took.
Yep. Kai can choose to chump here with the Haunt if he wants. Could probably afford to wait. Go down to 11 here.
A lot to think about here. You mentioned the Haunt of the Dead Marshes, its ability to chump block right now. Is it better served now or maybe better served later? Difficult to say. Kai with some things to think about. Also, remember, Kai doesn't know what he's drawing this turn. We know what's in hand on the patrol.
Yeah. So given that he's got the patrol, it's like if for example, if Kai had nothing, blocking's probably fine.
Sure.
Right? Because you're unlikely to. There's a decent chance you draw a land, and if you do, then you can actually use the mana to return to Haunt. But because you have a great play here next turn in the patrol. All right, we are racing here. Ooh.
Now we are going to see a activation of the draw and discard with the ring. Bowmaster's being the draw
And this
here
was
is
the
pretty good.
perfect card off the top. It was a Bowmasters.
Yeah.
Is he going for the trade here instead, though? Okay.
Gonna let the trade take place here. Bowmasters maybe takes care of Rosy Cotton. We'll have to see over the course of the game how Kai wants to use the Bowmasters. But again, don't forget that there is a 5-drop in hand that you might have more interest in deploying here in the Ungol Patrol.
Yeah, could choose to play that instead, but Kiihne's hand is also pretty great. He's got a Shadowfax in hand, and he can put a Meneldor into play if he draws a land.
Yeah. Well, looks like the Took Reaper is going to come on in, and Kai says, well, hang on just a minute.
Bowmasters.
Orcus Bowmaster is going to come in. It's going to take care of Rosie Cotton.
But Zach does have Slip on the Ring here,
Indeed.
and he can counter the effect. And I don't... Yeah, he can counter the effect here and put an extra counter here on the Took Reaper here.
Yep. So Rosie's back. Slip will allow for a tempt. So we're up to level 3 on the tempting as well.
Yeah, and it is now a 4/3.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the cost of waiting.
Yes.
Right? And allowing Zach to untap and attack.
That's the cost of waiting. That's the cost of not playing the 5-drop because that's not on the battlefield now as well. So a difficult exchange there for Kai. Very favorable there for Zachary. And now you have to make this exchange, which is going to be a double block, and now the ring is going to go up to 4 here for Kiihne as opposed to 2 here for Kai. The follow-up here for Kiihne. That's a rider. Simply pass the turn back, so huge draw step here for the German Juggernaut.
I think that's a Smeagol off the top for Kai.
I think you may be correct. We are in a tight one here.
Very, very tight, especially if Zach can find a land there for the Shadowfax.
Yep. That changes a lot about this game if that does show up. Smeagol. And the follow-up is to get this back.
It comes into play tapped.
It does indeed. The scry will happen, though.
Okay. You could do that at any time.
Maybe slightly surprised to see it now.
Yeah. I wonder if you thought it came into play untapped.
Also, nowadays in Magic, you do see that kind of return effect at sorcerer speed only.
So he found a land here, doing some math.
Well,
I mean, you're just jamming the Shadowfax.
I think it was pretty quick math. Yeah, that's what I think. Here comes Shadowfax.
Get in for 4 and also 3.
Yeah, it's going to be. It looks like it's going to be getting 4/4 and at least a little bit more. But Kiihne is going to think about this.
It would be trading with the Smeagol here. Kai can block it here.
There's your trigger.
Okay.
So this doesn't trigger, right? Because it doesn't attack when you make this.
So that's when the Meneldor deals combat damage, it will trigger. So Zachary can target the Meneldor after damage and effectively give it vigilance.
Yep. So Shadowfax putting in Menlador. Not a bad turn.
Pretty good, but Zach Kiihne is down to 6 right here.
Yep. And there's your trade.
Right. Down to 8 and flicker. Get the Meneldor back untapped.
And that's exactly what Kiihne is going to do. So we head back over to Kai. And get another huge draw step here. Generous end to the draw.
Ooh.
Looks like the horn is going to come on in. Kiihne's going to take that one and go down to 2.
That was big. Generous end has reach.
Yes, it does.
So Kiihne cannot attack through that.
And Kai will be making a food token. And don't sell yourself short on that food token. That 3 life could be very important.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this was a racing situation, so
Yep.
that was big.
I will also note, however, that Kiihne has a food token on his side of the battlefield as well. And
Okay.
let's banish that horns and simply pass the turn back. So we are going to head back over to Kai.
But can't attack. Zach down to 2. Can Kai find some decent attacks? Remember, you can also just attack. Oh, wow.
Well, it's the only removal spell in the deck.
Hey, it's going to be good. and now Kai has plenty of creatures to sacrifice here.
Yeah.
Will not get blown out by a Hobbit Sting.
So Rise of the Witch King has shown up once again.
How about another Generous End or an Enraged Horn? Lots of options here.
Yeah, a couple of really good options here for Kai in a graveyard that's
I just don't
full.
see how you lose if you just get another Ent here.
Yeah,
right?
and he's going to get another Ent, which should bring along another food token so long as Kai does
Right?
remember.
Yeah, and get a free attack with the Bowmasters because Zach has to block.
Yep. These players will sure up the life totals here in just a moment.
All right.
Kiihne will get a...
Kiihne does have a sweeper.
Yep, Kiihne will get a draw step. The Battle of Bywater is the best of the bunch, but that is not going to be it. So, the big creatures reign supreme here in game number 2, which means we're getting ready for our third and final one.
Ooh, all right.
Between Zachary Kiihne and Kai Budde.
Managed to dodge the sweeper there. Oh, but has it in hand this game.
Yeah, now this is the scary part of this matchup here for Kai, is does he have any meaningful way to even try to play around this card, right? Because his deck is just kind of priced into, I play my creatures when I draw them, and
Exactly.
I don't really have many decisions around not doing that.
Now, Zach is on a mulligan here. Doesn't have the quickest start.
Yeah, play an East Farthing Farmer and generate a food token as we head back Kai's way.
Yeah, that does turn on the... That does improve the Hobbit Sting, not only with the creature, but it, of course, also counts the artifacts that you have.
Indeed. Kiihne missing blue mana at this stage, but does have 2 more planes, that Battle of Bywater that we keep mentioning, and that Hobbit Sting, which was crucial to him winning game number 1. Smeagol, Helpful Guide, Celeborn the Wise, and a handful of lands here for Kai. So there is the Smeagol, and pass the turn back. Kiihne has drawn another land as well, so both players doing a little bit of minor flooding to kick this game off.
Yeah. No great attack here for Kiihne. Could use potentially the Hobbit Sting, rather, to get the Smeagol off the battlefield.
Now, Generous Ent isn't a bad draw step. Again, remember, it is huge, so the Battle of Bywater to solve that problem.
Yeah, we're not going to see that one get cycled, given all the lands in Kai's hand. Happy for the trade here, and then Kai likely going to just be slamming the Celeborn.
And the Celeborn is slammed, so the 3/3 does join the battlefield. We'll head back over to Kiihne now. Pretty important draw step.
And needs to find some action here. I don't think he's going to run out the Battle of Bywater just to kill one creature.
No.
He's going to wait till at least he can get 2.
Especially with a hand that doesn't really have much of anything going on. He's going to have to get a decent amount of value from it right now. So the Battle of Bywater is what this game is going to be kind of shaped around at some point, which is when is Zach going to pull the trigger on it. As you do see the scry there from the Celeborn. The top card becomes the bottom. It'll be attacked there for 4. Kai will just play a force and pass the turn back.
But Kai has to be mindful of this too, right?
Absolutely.
He absolutely knows that that card exists. He's already ahead on board here. Ooh, that's a nice interaction.
That is.
Fight with a Death Touch creature. The Spider betraying Kai here.
And the breaking of the Fellowship there does help to take down that Celeborn, and also puts the ring on level 1 there for Kiihne. So now this will be the Troll.
Now, do you fire it off here?
Looks like a Hobbit Sting will take care of that Spider because of the food token. And now
I think he's going to still wait.
Yep.
He's like, I can still take 6 here. The question is Kai going to play another big creature this turn?
Yeah.
Or is he just going to play the Haunt?
Yep, very, very good question. We could also see him play both. And, of course, I think if we do see Kai do that, he'll probably lead with the Haunt and Scry, maybe to get some information first. So I think the sequencing is pretty important. So Kai will start with the Haunt. This will give Kai perfect information as far as what's on top of the deck.
Yeah, and if he keeps on top, likely have to think there's another big creature on top.
Yep.
And then maybe you're a little more comfortable with Zach potentially having the sweeper.
And that card does stay on top from the Scry. So you're going to see Kai take a moment here. And the reason for that
is big.
The reason for that is pretty simple, which is, okay, if I'm Kai in the situation, I'm thinking, I know Zach's deck list, and he's not doing anything.
Oh, and he runs it out.
Yeah, do I actually want to play another large threat or not? Because he's not doing anything of consequence. Ultimately, Kai decides the answer to that question is yes, which actually makes me wonder, what do you keep on top of the Scry?
Oh, it's another big creature. I guarantee
that would be my assumption.
Yeah. And, I mean, if you're Zach, I mean, you are playing it this turn.
Yeah.
That is some value there. 3 mana to kill 11 power on the battlefield.
So the Battle of Bywater is going to take care of those 2 large land cyclers. We're going to head back over to Kiihne, but over to Kai. But more importantly, what did he keep on top of the deck? That's the big question here. And it was Sauron the Necromancer.
Okay.
So you were right. It was big.
It was very large.
Yeah, it was big.
Very, very large. But now Zach does have a Fog on the Bearer Downs as well to deal with this one. So now we're even. I mean, it looked like Zach was really far behind.
Yep.
But because he was patient with that Battle of Bywater, now, I mean, we're just kind of playing off the top here.
Who does it favor? That's hard to say. We're going to see how the game ends up playing out. No rings on the looting aspect yet, which I think is pretty notable in a spot like that, in a spot like this, where that can kind of run away with the game.
All right, Bag End Porter.
Now, earlier
Good
you
draw
were
here.
you were mean to the Bag End Porter.
Hey, look, when there's nothing in play, it's fine.
Look at that Big O. Well, speaking of Big O's, Oliphant has shown up.
Okay, now The Bag and Porter will be able to attack as a 5/5 because the Sauron is legendary. Would trade with the Oliphant.
And
Or,
here comes the Porter.
okay.
Okay. Oh, it looks like Zach's going to take that damage and fall down to 8. So, what's the follow-up here for Kai?
Not the most impressive card here. A Mordor Trebuchet. Some filler there too. It does block the Took Reapers pretty well, which is probably why he boarded it in.
Sure.
I don't even think he has too many goblins or orcs to actually turn that on.
Oh, well, Kiihne's starting.
Oh, okay.
Kiihne's starting to turn up the heat now a little bit.
Yeah, and remember, the Oliphant gives trample. So this is an attack for 12.
Yes. So Shadowfax has shown up. Oliphant before that.
Kai can block with the Haunt. It's free as he can return it back into play.
And this isn't a bad block here from Kai. Of course, it's against a trample creature, so it's less than ideal.
One less damage.
Yes, but the scry is what's important here.
Right.
So let's see. That top
Ooh,
card,
ooh,
okay,
that was a pretty
stays
quick
on top.
top.
Yep.
Generous Ent.
That's what it was.
That's a Generous Ent.
That's what it was. So Kai is going to attack once again.
For 5. Do you block?
And it looks like the answer to this question is yes. So
All
Took
right.
Reaper is going to go under the bus. Ring's going to go up to level 2.
Okay.
And the Shadowfax is tempted. Now here's the Generous Ent. And in this
That
racing
is so
situation,
big.
in this racing situation, food token and the 2 mana to activate it here.
Right,
for Kai.
and just the sizing, it's a 5/7 against the 2/6/4s.
Yeah,
right.
huge. Absolutely.
Zach
huge.
needs a combat trick, maybe.
Shadowfax is coming in.
Okay.
There's the discard. And I don't know if he's happy about this. There was a little bit of a smirk there. I don't know if it was the good kind.
Well,
That's to attack the buff, right?
yeah. So Kai doesn't have a block here with the Ent, but he still just has a block with the Haunt,
Got it. And now there's the
and he's
follow-up.
just
2 creatures.
playing out the rest of his hand here. But
Those 2 creatures aren't bad.
oh, Generous Ent, so good here.
Kai will sacrifice that food token. So maybe on the upkeep, Kai wants to return the Haunt.
Yeah, that is an option. I wonder how many other 6. You got to think about how many other 6s you have.
Mm-hmm. He's already gone through He's already gone through the Troll and an Ent.
Right. So he only has 1 left. So
Correct.
Using the mana not going to be that costly here. So thinking about it makes me think it's probably not a 5. So Kai just thinking, can I have something better than whatever is on top here? Oh, is it an Enraged Horn?
This is kind of big.
That is large. I would be somewhat surprised if... Oh, okay. Okay, he just kept it on top.
Yep.
Okay.
So Horn's going to enter the battlefield. There'll be some tempting that does take place, of course. So level 1 on the ring, and now where to place the ring. On what creature will it be?
Good question. If you put it on the Bag and Porter, it would be a 5/5, so the Oliphant can't block it, right? So Kiihne would need to double block it to get it off the battlefield. So that seems like a decent option.
Remember, in this racing situation, Kiihne does have, it looks like 1 card in hand, and of course a loot coming from the Shadowfax. Kiihne's ring being at level 2, Kai's being at level 1. And life totals 12 to 8 here in favor of the German Juggernaut. So here comes the attack.
All right, this is an attack for 6.
Took Reaper's going to block very quickly.
Yeah, as of course there is another legend in play with the Enraged Horn being turned into a ring bearer.
So the ring is now tempting the flyer. So here's your attack. There's your trigger.
Okay, and it can't get blocked. Okay, so that's some damage coming in. But Kiihne, I mean, Kai is setting up for a potential large attack, potential lethal attack next turn if he attacks with a bunch of those green creatures.
Yeah, just how aggressive does Kai want to get here? Because you mentioned, Paul, those creatures are very large.
Oliphant is very dangerous with that threat of trample.
It's very true. Now, don't forget here as well that Kai is at a virtual 12, not 9, because of that food token.
You're absolutely right.
And on Kiihne's side of things, you're not going to find any food tokens. What you'll find is a Westfold Rider that was played. Alongside that, Shadowfax and Olifant on defense. Will Kai try to play around whatever card is in Kiihne's hand? Does he have the luxury to do so?
Yeah, Horn is nice in that it blocks the Shadowfax pretty well. Oh, but it looks like we are...
Well, we're thinking about it.
We are maybe...
Yeah, we're thinking... And this is what you thought was going to happen. You mentioned
Right.
that these creatures are just very large. We're in a racing situation, and it's probably more advantageous for Kai here to just say, I'm getting in with these fellas.
Yeah. All right, put the pressure on Kiihne. Kiihne needs to block 2 creatures this turn to survive.
Oh, there are your blocks. He'll put Shadowfax first. Kai's going to pass priority.
All right, so we're just going to see some trades going on here.
Yep.
2 for 2.
So there's your trades. Again, remember, Kai's sitting in a virtual 12 because that food token going to follow up. With the
Can
yearling.
Kiihne find a way to tempt again here?
Well, he's going to go again with this attack. Draw and discard.
Oh, and that's a nice draw too,
I think that's a
potentially.
breaking of the fellowship there, I believe.
Breaking of the... Oh, but no real good thing to get rid of here, right? Because you can't really kill the Ent. That's the thing you want to kill. Zach is down to 3 here.
He's going to exile this and lose the ring. Yeah. And that's a sign.
That's a good sign.
That's a sign that there's some real trouble here.
Yeah.
That's a sign that there's some real trouble here. So if you're Kai, maybe a little mental fist pump there.
Absolutely. The only thing you can kill here is potentially the Trebuchet. Now remember, if Kai doesn't go for the win, so he goes up to 9.
Mm-hmm.
No, he's 3 damage short because you can cast Breaking on the following turn
Sure.
to get the tempt back onto the flyer.
Sure.
That would be an attack for 6.
Gotcha. Haunt of the Dead Marshes is the draw here for this turn for Kai.
Kai has to continue putting pressure here, I think, and he's at 9.
Can't stop, won't stop.
Whoa, even with the haunt.
There's a very quick block. Let's see what the follow block is going to be. And if Kiihne
He is at 3, has to block one of these 2.
Yep, and can Kiihne even attempt to afford to play around anything? There is your block.
All right.
He's going to fall down to 2.
But remember now, Kai has an Amass token, so the Trebuchet is active next turn.
Okay.
You attack with the Amass token, and boom, you also get a 2/1 flying creature. Zach needs to find an answer this turn.
Zach will draw.
Oh, is that enough? Is he? No, he's 1 mana short.
That was Fear Fire Foes.
Generous Ent has 7 toughness. Kiihne has access to 7 mana with the land in hand. 1 mana short.
So how can he make the best of this card, if at all?
Well, you can get the Trebuchet and everything else that's in play.
Except for the Ent.
Except for the Ent. However, the Haunts would come back into play still because the Sauron is still in play.
Yep.
There's still a legendary creature in play, so Kai can put both of those back in. So Zach was 1 mana short. 1 mana short from being able to get that Generous Ent off the battlefield.
You're 9.
Kiihne going to do the... You're at 9, right?
Yeah.
Quick confirmation. I don't...
You're not at 6? Are
Quick
you
confirmation.
are
I don't
you
have
sure
it. Yeah,
you're not
quick
at 6?
confirmation. I don't have it. All right. Here.
Does he have a combat trick maybe that can deal 3 extra points of damage?
Well, we're going to start with Breaking of the Fellowship.
Mark for 3 damage there.
Oh, of course. Okay. So Breaking of the Fellowship to deal 4 and then use the Fear Fire Foes.
Combat.
Sure.
Here comes the attack.
Needs to find a mountain.
Draw and discard.
Oh, has the mountain.
So there's your discard of a Plains. Some damage is going to come through.
Yeah, but then I think he's...
Here's your mountain. Here's your Fear Fire Foes. So let's see how this is.
Oh,
Let's see how this
okay.
is going to play out here. So, yeah. So
Taking 4.
Yeah. So this
Fear Fire
this-
Foes for
well,
3.
hang on, because he didn't trigger the exile to bring that back, and they're going to walk that back and let that happen. Okay. So now here is Fear Fire Foes.
Fear Fire Foes for 3. Wipe the board. Kai can return 2 Haunts, but he is at 3. And he's facing a lethal Meneldor.
Oh, take 4. Yeah.
That's why I'm like.
So Kai, with these 2 scries, actually needs to find something.
Okay. Well, he gets quite a few looks at
Double
it. So-
scry. All right, got to find something here. Get this flyer off the battlefield.
He knows the top card is a Bowmasters! And Kai Budde is going to get the job done. The German juggernaut
Wow.
kicks off day number 1 with a victory. No removal, no problem. Orcish Bowmaster. bastard.
1 damage.
That's all
is
we
what you
need.
needed. Just needed the 1.
Just one for Kabude.
Just needed the 1. What a game. What a game that was.
That was very, very good back and forth. Racing situation, food tokens adding up, haste being a very big deal in that situation as well, Paul. Again, we talked about how Kai's deck, it does have a lot of large creatures, which played a really big role there. The lack of removal, also a bit of a problem. You're hoping for a 2-1. It's in range.
Yeah, Kai gets that win, but I still just want to talk about... Kiihne played so tight that game.
Yeah.
It looked like his back was against the wall for so much of that game, but he was still able to put himself in a position where Kai needed to top deck to win.
Hey, a little bit of luck never hurts in tournaments like this. Congratulations to Kai, moving on to 8-1 after 9 rounds of competition here in Barcelona. We're taking a break, everybody. When we do come back, you are headed to the news desk with Maria. See you soon.